Mike Lynn, Memorial League, Week 3, Power Rankings. Brought to you by the United States Congress. Why do something when you could do nothing? All right, guys. Welcome to Week 3, Power Rankings. It's Thursday night. Sorry for being late, but they're getting done nonetheless. Let's jump right to the results. Mulva Thrill, Skate Spy, Weapons of Matt's Distraction. Nice name, not 65-51. Stuntcock drops trow on yesterday's cord and says, I don't need to go to the butcher to see a juicy salami. 86-66. Stern Rake scoffs at such a measly ranking and drops 77 powerful points on Tuckfest, who only manages 40. Juchi's Giant Jocks succumbs to homies. 67-51. Senior Ass gets back in the win column with an 80-65 win over previously undefeated Team Mangravy. And finally, Tommy's Terminators returns to the win column with a relatively meager score of 54 versus the putrid former MVP Power, 44. And it looks like I didn't screen cap the league average, but I think this was our lowest scoring week. Let's take a look at the standings. Okay, we got 0-3 teams. Everybody else is 2-1. Two of the 0-3 teams, I think, are sort of out of it. Not convinced that Mike is out of it, given his points for. This is what the site thinks you're ranked at. I'm not too far off, but let's take a look. Number 12, Tuckfest. I'm sorry, Justin. I think I said in our first update, this is the year. Maybe this is the team. Maybe it's your destiny. And I'm afraid not. Now AJ Brown is hurt. Tyson's William Starr has faded very quickly. Tyreek hasn't found the end zone since week 1. If you are looking on the positive side, I thought the Cowboys offense looked really good. Dak is in control. And Najee Harris saw 18 targets because Big Ben can't throw farther than 5 yards because he's too much of a fat pig to get out of the way of the deluge of defensive linemen who are constantly in his lap. Number 11, Weapons of Matt's Distraction. Nice name, not? All right. I think this team is better than number 11, but you are 0-3 and you haven't scored a lot of points. On the positive side, Ayuk found the end zone and seems to have regained the role that he had at the end of last year. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire found the end zone and had a very positive workload, although it did not result in a Chiefs win. So perhaps Andy Reid will abandon his newfound running game. You're hurting a little bit at the quarterback position. Your best QB is Trevor Lawrence, who in real life is not getting things done, even if he's putting up a halfway decent fantasy box score. And then what happened to Joe Mixon? I'm watching tonight. He hasn't been on the field on third down. Week 1 was a mirage, it appears. Number 10, former MVP Power. Mr. Selman is 2-1. Mahomes alone will not get done. This is what I said last week. What happens? You put up 44 stinky points. Robbie Anderson not getting targets. And Corey Davis is in the worst passing offense in the NFL. Perhaps Julio Jones, now that AJ Brown has lost a hamstring to go with his 2 bad knees, maybe Julio's role increases, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. And I'm not sure which situation stinks more, that of your backfield or your wide receivers. I would lean wide receivers because at least Damian Harris has a well-defined role, which will probably only increase now that James White is out for the season. Number 9, Stern Rake. 2-1. Justin Herbert gets it done on the field, but that's not a big, it was a pretty good day. A couple to Mike Williams. He's a stud, but Christian McCaffrey goes down, out for a few weeks, although positive that they didn't put him on IR. Devontae Adams, big game. Justin Jefferson finds the end zone, has a big game. Robert Tonyan, big time bust at the tight end spot. And so, yes, your 2 big stud wide receivers are doing well, but the rest of the team, big question mark. Although Zach Moss found the end zone, it's a good thing that you didn't start Devin Singletary because he went from having 80 yards to riding the pine awfully quick. Number 8, Move a Thrill. Dave is 2-1. Josh Allen finally has a huge game. Alvin Kamara finds the end zone, but Robert Woods is still missing in action, and Keenan Allen seems to be second fiddle on his own team and is not getting any red zone targets. And this being a touchdown-dependent league that gives 0 points per reception, I think Keenan's value is at an all-time low, which is all I need to say for him to score multiple touchdowns against me this week. Number 7, yesterday's corn. No team has had worse luck than Mr. Waldman, having 250 points against and 2 salamis against him. Your tight ends do still stink pretty bad, but the rest of the team has some promise. Cooper Kupp remains, I think, the wide receiver 1 on the season. So the Kupp, Godwin, Hopkins thing, although Hopkins has had a rib injury and has underperformed, your wide receivers are still very good. Even the backup, Sterling Shepard, is getting it done. Juju found the end zone. Henry Ruggs seems to be showing signs of life. So I like this wide receiver depth. Question, though, with Chris Carson, is that hammy okay? Saquon, is he really going to break out? It's 3.5 yards a carry or something. Not so great. The offensive line and the Giants is not giving him a lot of opportunity. I think the run blocking efficiency when he gets the ball he's like the 52nd best running back in run block efficiency behind that O-line. So concerns, but Rodgers looked great, and bad luck. I think some wins are in your future. 205 points scored for your team. Number 6, Tommy's Terminators. One of the biggest drops in the standings this week. I still like this team, but just not putting up the points. I know you got to win, but 54 points, I think, was below league average. Jonathan Taylor is starting to worry me. He's getting into bust territory. Maybe it's time to put him on the bench, just go with Eckler and start 3 wide receivers. Question is, which wide receiver becomes wide receiver 3? If it's me, it's Jalen Waddle. He had 12 catches last week, only 58 yards, but he's going up against a tough team. He's had tough matchups early. Miami now gets some softer defenses on the schedule, and he's playing out of the slot, which usually leads to big opportunity. And then the Pitt D, which you selected awfully early, I think has been below average fantasy defense so far, unless I'm just looking at the box scores wrong, because their real life performance has not been spectacular. Perhaps they just need to get that Watt fella back on the field. Number 5, Stunt Cock, 2-1. That's why I draft Alexander Madison every single year, because when he gets an opportunity, he doesn't miss a beat. Metcalf got it going. I get the salami because my kicker and my defense put up more points than I think Tuckfest altogether. I am concerned, though, that Allen Robinson and Amari Cooper are going the wrong direction. And I've got a lot of injuries. They're not major out for the season injuries, but I think every iteration of my starting lineup this week has people who are hurt. So we'll see what happens against my nemesis in week 4. Number 4, Team Mangravy. Lou sitting at 2-1. James Robinson, that's the guy you drafted in round 1. He's getting it done. A touchdown tonight. His role redefined. He said, Carlos Hyde, go back from whence you came. This is my backfield. DeAndre Swift, I really like him. Tried to trade for him. You wisely turned that trade down. I am a little concerned about who your second receiver is. Ridley obviously is reliable, if not outstanding. But who else do you start? Is it Debo? It's not DJ Chark. He just broke his ankle. He's out for the year. Is it Devontae Smith? You can't count on him yet. And I certainly don't count on Kenny Golladay. So maybe I shouldn't have turned down my 2-for-1. Oh, wait, I didn't make you an offer for a wide receiver. But you need one. Maybe leverage that Kirk Cousins fella to get yourself a wide receiver. Number 3, homies. 2-1. No team has risen up the power rankings more than the homies. How are they getting it done? Well, Derrick Henry doesn't matter how many carries he gets. He's back to form, and all of a sudden he's catching passes. He's on pace, I think, to eclipse his reception record for his whole career in a single season. Jamar Chase, all he does is score touchdowns. Mark Andrews has a breakout game. Kyle Pitts still not really doing anything, but long term, he is quite a player. Now, my concern after those players that I've mentioned remains. I think the rest of this roster stinks, but as long as your top players keep doing well and you're going to score a lot of points, what happens with Lamar this week? Missed practice yet again. Number 2, senior ass. Rob is 2-1. Tom Brady, whatever. I was looking at a thing today and someone did the roster from Madden 05. And like half of Tom Brady's teammates are either coaches in the league now or have children in the NFL. It's absurd. Here I am, not even 40, and I can barely walk and have no meniscus in my right knee and a pile of crap. And Tom Brady continues to be excellent, and it makes me feel bad about myself almost every single day. Aaron Jones, all he does is score lots of touchdowns. He's really good. George Kittle, though, he wasn't really performing, and then now he's hurt. So what happens there? Is he even as good as his own teammate, Kyle Juszczyk, the jack of all trades? I don't know. However, kudos to you, sir, for drafting Mike Williams wherever you got him. Perhaps he's a must start going forward. And a rookie tight end finds the end zone in Pat Freiermuth. I think that he could be a nice little nookie blankie for Fat Big Ben for the rest of the season. Number 1, Juicy's Giant Jocks. Mr. Fisher sitting at 2-1. Another big matchup this week, but Matt Stafford, QB1 so far in fantasy. Diggs, he's only got the 1 touchdown, I think, but I think big things are coming for the rest of this season. I mean, last week, bad luck. Sanders scores twice, whatever. The opportunity is always going to be there for Diggs in that passing offense. Lockett injury, I'd be a little concerned. And then just overall, the Chiefs being a little out of sync obviously hurts you if Kelsey's not finding the end zone and then their kicker not really getting anything done either. But number 1 for a reason. I think last week was a blip. Also, I think Chase Edmonds is going to break out the rest of the season. Hopefully, Marquise Brown gets over those 3 drops and can be someone you insert in your lineup if Lockett is actually hurt. Okay, that's the rankings. Now for the much anticipated, everybody's favorite part, predictions. Team Man Gravy leaves a little sauce on the plate, defeating Stern Rake 65-55. Weapons of Matt's Distraction, nice name, not, in a loser bowl versus Tuckfest, skates by with a 61-59 victory. Senior ass in a high-scoring affair over homies, 88-77. Gucci's Giant Jocks with a very nice 69 points over Tommy's Terminators, 63. Mulva Thrill cruises to victory over Stunt Cock, 73-54, because that's the way it always is. Well, maybe not in the regular season. And finally, yesterday's corn tastes sweet victory over hapless former MVP Power, 59-48. Okay, gents, that's all I got. Sorry they're a little late this week, but better late than never. Good luck to you all this week, except Dave. I hope your whole team sucks an egg. Goodbye.